That's the initial awakening. Essentially, it's like, whoa, there's like something beyond here. There's this kind of new dimension just kind of opened up for me.
Yeah.
It's very much, it feels like there was like this opening, like you felt very expansive, open, present, very alert, but also relaxed at the exact same time. And then it's kind of like it closes back down and you're like, where was that?
Yeah.
What happened? I want to get back there, because that felt more real than anything here that you're experiencing, you could say.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So, and then you're like aware now of like this kind of this fear and more the thoughts and the feelings and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically basically the initial awakening, where we awaken basically from just being mind identified. When we're mind identified, we don't even know that we're mind identified. We're not even aware. You might see this with your family and friends that, they're not aware that they're angry, or they're not aware that they're sad, or they're not aware that they're resisting things. And even if you try and like say, hey, are you aware? They're not even aware of it. They basically just become they basically are the emotion that's being expressed. They don't even know that they're feeling it.
Yeah, totally. And I actually feel like they try to avoid addressing their own emotions right at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very frustrating, actually.
Yeah. Well, the more the more you try and make them aware of it, you'll feel like this pushback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'll feel like you're trying to point something out, and they'll just kind of like naturally kind of put on the brakes and start resisting whatever you're saying.
Exactly.
Right. Or they'll kind of be in this massive denial. They kind of just bury their head in the sand and don't want to see it. So it doesn't go over that well, trying to point out everything.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so yeah, then you'll notice like these synchronicities that are kind of happening. Those are just like everything. Basically, everything is a synchronicity, but you just start becoming more aware of it. It's like, because you're not so tunnel vision, just thinking me. Now you're experiencing more of life. So then you're actually seeing things, how things are kind of lined up like that. And it feels, at that stage, it kind of feels like you're kind of like playing with the universe in a way. Like there's almost like there's this kind of communication happening between like what's happening out in your outer reality and with you.
Yeah, and I find, sorry that I interrupted you.
That's all right.
I also feel that I have been very intellectual my whole life. Like, I'm a very rational person, so I'm always trying to understand things. But lately, I've been feeling like it's not about, like, I'm not gonna think my way out of this or within.
Yeah.
But actually being and experiencing it.
That's right.
So that's challenging for me, actually, because I'm used to thinking a lot.
Yeah.
And trying to understand and comprehend things. But I know that that's not enough. Like, the mind is always trying to find a further answer and a further answer, and you never get there, actually. So yeah, that's been challenging also for me.
Yeah. And you're more aware of that now.
Yeah, exactly.
You would be completely oblivious to it.
Yeah.
But now you're aware of, oh yeah, the mind wants to kind of grasp at things and understand things. But now you're also aware of this intuition that's kind of telling you you can't grasp this stuff. You can't understand this stuff. And there needs to be kind of a letting go of that kind of grasping, that trying to know things intellectually.
Yeah.
So that's good. So already there's that development of that intuition that's there, that awareness of that intuition, because that starts guiding you as well. Because it's just like you're saying, is you're like, previously this is the habit of trying to learn my way to things, schooling, and this is how the mind's been conditioning. But it's like, something's different. And it feels like it needs to be experiential. It needs to be energetic instead of conceptual.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
no, it's been like difficult because I feel like I live a lot here, and I feel like, a very spiritual person 10 years ago told me, like, you are like, um I don't know how to put this, like, in the sky, like you're very, but
Yeah.
you need to ground yourself here.
Yeah.
Remember that you're living a physical experience.
That's right.
So that's been the challenge for me, I think, like, uh downloading this to my body.
Yeah. And that kind of happens to actually someone was just talking to me about it like the other day. Um that happens when we're very like intellectually smart about spirituality, when we know a lot because of books that we've read and watching videos and stuff all about spirituality. And then we get like kind of our first or second or third kind of spiritual experience, like something kind of mystical. Then what it does is it basically kind of disembodies us even more. We're like way up in the
Oh yeah.
clouds. And then it's like, it's this kind of weird place where you feel very disconnected actually to everyone. It's quite the opposite of like what
Yes.
true spirituality is, because it should be this interconnectedness, this unity, right? Where it's now it's like, oh, like what's going on? I don't want to do work. I don't want to hang around people. And then you get into this kind of hermit phase where you're very disconnected, very ungrounded, head up in the sky, denying like the world, denying everything. And yeah, you're just like, yeah, your head's up in the clouds basically. And you kind of have this, you kind of know it a little bit, like, how do I get back? How do I get back to earth kind of thing? How do I ground myself? Right. Which if you're experiencing that, then what needs to happen is you need to get more into the body.
Mhm.
Right. So you need to embody it. Right. So things like focusing on your breath, like a movement practice, could be just some subtle, like some simple yoga stretches and postures, some dance, like whatever, like really walking, being out in nature, any of that type of stuff really gets you into the body. And you'll find it'll get you out of the head as well. When there's a lot of like thinking about this stuff, it's just too much up here. There's too much stuff going on, and it's like need to get into the body more. And you'll find that when you're into the body more, you're more like feeling the energy instead of up here. It's all mental stuff, but in the body now, it's more, you're feeling more the energetics of it. So it'll allow you actually to feel the emotions without thinking about the emotions, and that's key to emotions. Is you
Totally, totally.
don't think about them, feel them, where it's literally like the fundamental thing for emotions. But we in school and stuff, we're never taught that. It's always about let's just think about them. I need to understand my emotions first before I can feel
Yeah,
them. And it's
yeah,
just, it
yeah,
just creates more problems and you get into this entanglement with them. But if you really find that you're grounded in your body, you'll feel everything. You'll
yeah,
feel it before you think about it.
yeah, yeah,
There'll be
totally.
there'll be the feeling instead of the thought first. You'll feel it.
It's funny you say that because, like, 2 weeks ago, I was feeling like very in my head,
Yeah.
and before sleeping, like I was just about to get to bed, and suddenly, like, I don't know, it's like an energy invaded my body, and I needed to shake. Like,
Yeah.
my body was telling me shake it off, like everything, and I started dancing and shaking it off,
Yeah.
and then I was feeling like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I was feeling like a pulse within me, and it
Yeah.
was like, oh yes, like it felt amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Because
I
this whole thing, this whole spiritual awakening, it's purely energetic. Like if you ask anyone, they'll kind of think that you can learn your way to truth or you can learn your way through like spiritual awakening. It's you can't. There's no way to do that. There's no amount of books or no amount of videos that you can watch to learn your way there.
sure,
It's purely an energetic thing. And basically there's that awakening of that you could say that in your experience, this new dimension of awareness, and now there's this energy. And that's where this kind of that intuition starts coming through. It's like, yeah, there's some energy here that just wants to be, what do I need to do? Shake it out kind of thing. And you feel very like primal, very like animalistic when this happens. You feel so just, it's natural, but you feel like, yeah, like this is very primordial, that it's just like, I just need to just shake it out. And
Yeah.
if you look at animals, it's the same sort of thing. If you look at like a dog or a cat, they'll just kind of shake, or they'll move their body, and they're not like, oh, what are they going to think about me? What is my neighbor's going to think about me? Right? It's just, if the body wants to move, it's going to move. So that's where you're like surrendering to this energy. Whereas the resistance is all in the mind. It says like, oh, I don't know. I'm not one to shake around and dance. But when you really get in tune with that energy, it's like, no, it's like, it just wants to. It just starts wanting to flow, and you just get out of the way. So that's the starting of that kind of that surrender process. Because ultimately there has to be a surrender to the energy.
Yeah.
So
I find that a
it
little
does it
bit
very
scary.
slowly, like in increments.
Yeah.
It does it in increments. It's the really, that's like if you've heard about like Kundalini energy, that's the same. That's what we're talking about, is this energy. The name is not important. It's just this universal energy that everything's made of. That that basically it's gonna start purifying things. It will start unblocking things. And the process is very smooth if you simply get out of the way. But if you choose to resist it, then it's going to be a long, drawn out, like, struggle kind of
Bumpy
thing.
road.
Yeah. So, but those are like some of those things. So I would say, like, because it's so new to you, if you can get something like a routine going every day of like some sort of yoga flow, or some sort of dance, or some sort of stretching, or something, touching your feet on like the earth, um could be like start taking more baths, like something that just grounds you more and more, that gets you more into the body, and you'll naturally start feeling the thoughts start slowing down, and you'll start feeling more connected to the energy, and you'll basically get out of the clouds and start coming down, and you'll start noticing that when you're connected to the body, you're also connected to like other people and nature and everything else. It feels
That's
like
beautiful.
when you're very disconnected, it's because it's like that. It's like the body is like that connection point in a way. It just grounds you. It anchors you down. Right. So I'd start with that, basically, to
Perfect.
kind of, yeah, before. And then just like you just keep on watching the videos and stuff. It might feel like there's this big gap of what I'm talking about to what's going on. But just watching the video, if you can watch the video and just kind of put the mind aside, the energy actually starts tuning you to it. The energy starts, you could say, like, upgrading everything. It starts purifying things. You don't really need to understand it intellectually. Just having that connection, being connected to the community, being connected, like on these calls, being connected to myself, you'll find that it's just like, if you can just get out of the way, it's just, it does all the work for you. That's what I'm saying. It's just, it's all the resistance that it has to kind of be let go of.
Yeah. That's the difficult part, but
Yeah.
I'm in for the challenge.
It's like, it's the most simple and easiest thing, but because we just choose to complicate it, the mind is complex. It makes it so complicated, where it's like, hey,
Oh
well,
yeah.
if you want instant enlightenment right now, surrender, unconditional surrender. But who's going to do that? No one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
does that like help with that, with
Yeah, I resonate with you a lot because that's like the signals I've been getting from my own body recently. Like shake it off, like do some more yoga. I've been going out, taking walks. So yeah, it's pretty aligned with what you're saying. That's
yeah.
what my body is asking me to do.
Yeah. And what's really happening is the spiritual journey is very much, it's like, it's kind of like this kind of thing. It's basically most people just talk about the journey within, but I take you the full way. There's a journey within and there's a journey back, essentially. And so that's what kind of where you had this turning point when you said at the start where you said, and like, what are these people talking about? Like, why, who cares about these Hallmark holidays? And why do we even do this type of stuff? And like, this seems like the same circle that everyone's kind of on, and they're just going around in circles. And like, what's the point? And it's just kind of this intuition that's kind of like, there's something more and you want to know. And you get basically that initial awakening is kind of like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like a call from home, you could say. It's like a call, and it's like you get the call, and now there's kind of, now you're not denying the world, but you're also kind of you're turning inward. So you become more dispassionate about what's going on out there. Not to say you don't like become some monk in a cave, but there's inwardly, there's a turning inward, which then that's where like a practice, like a body movement practice, more just walks in nature by yourself, a breathing practice, all these things really help you basically take your focus away from the outer world, all the friends and the relationships and all this other stuff going on. And then you're spending more time, you could say, with yourself. And you develop more of a deeper connection with yourself, which then you're coming inward. There's a realization. And then after that, then there's going outward back into the world with that realization, which then it's now about integration, which is like a whole journey in itself.
Wow.
So you're just on that, just how you said, like December 12th, 2022 or whatever you said, that was kind of like, oh, wait, where's like, I hear the call. And then you're saying, oh, it's a turn. But now it's like, it's kind of like, okay, well, what is that practice? What are those things that are going to get me more connected to myself? And there might still be like that pull. There's very much probably still like the pull of friends and school and work and all these other things. But it's a matter of like, okay, how do you balance that, but still make some time for yourself? Whereas before you'd say like you completely didn't really have that connection with yourself. Now it's a little stronger, getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an energy. It's like a pull. It's your true nature pulling you back. It's very much this inward journey. And then after, it's an outward journey.
Wow.
Does that feel like on point to what you're experiencing?
I definitely identify with the second stage. Definitely. Like everything you described about it, it's what's happening to me. Like I've been like identifying with a lot of friends, like a lot of people from my own family. And it's like a very dualistic experience because you feel like you're kind of doing the right thing, but you also feel like maybe a dick.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I
it's
totally
because it's like you could say like you're putting yourself first. You're not completely losing yourself before you completely lost yourself, and then you get mixed up with experience. And now it's like about, okay, how do I find myself?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this kind of journey of self-discovery, discovering your true self. So there's this kind of this longing to know yourself, to a deeper connection with yourself. What you'll actually start experiencing is like, once you turn away from kind of the friends and family and all that stuff to make more time for yourself, you'll find that actually the deeper you connect with yourself, the deeper you can connect with others. Because you can only really meet another at the level that you've met yourself. So the entire world is very superficial. So these like superficial conversations, everyone wants to just talk about the weather, and you'll kind of be like, I'm kind of bored of this. I want to like talk about something deeper. And you'll feel like just energetically, like they're not on your vibration. They're just not, they can't hang with you. And you kind of feel like this is kind of like childish stuff that we're talking about. So you feel like you're more mature than other people, even though you're younger than them. But it's this spiritual maturity. And that's really this awakening process. Is it's kind of like spiritual puberty, the same way as you go through puberty. Like the body goes through puberty, spiritually, this is like a puberty process. So it's very natural, just like puberty is. But you could say it's this maturation, like you're maturing. And then that's where you kind of just, you'll see the more you mature, the more kind of you start kind of everything starts looking kind of crazy, where you're like, all right, it's a bunch of, 7-year-olds in adult bodies out there.
Oh my God.
No one knows how to feel their feelings. Everyone's arguing about nonsense. It's like a daycare out there. Right. But like I said, but by basically connecting with yourself, you're gaining more and more wisdom, and you basically start becoming more kind. You start becoming more compassionate, loving, caring, and you're able to, as much as it seems like they're crazy out there, you're able to actually connect with them on a deeper level, in a more heart-centered way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but no, that's good. It's good. I'm glad you found the channel and you're here. So that's a huge thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So
wonderful. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
because I know at the start, it's like, especially when you think like you're kind of going crazy or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like you feel totally alone. You
Yeah,
totally feel alone. So that's like, it's nice to, okay, well, there's a community, there's some others that are going through the same thing. So then it's kind of, it kind of it relaxes you a little bit. Like, okay, I'm not
totally.
going nuts here.
Yeah, actually, like listening to you saying that it's normal and that, yeah, like pretty much everyone who has gone this path has encountered like these stages is like, oh my God, yeah, I'm not crazy at all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like a calming thing to hear, actually,
Yeah.
because you actually feel like you're going crazy. Like you think very differently from others. You feel like you don't identify anymore with your friends from like college or school, even school. Uh, I don't know. It's pretty lonely actually, and you
Yeah.
start to feel like, am I going crazy? Am I losing my mind? And you feel like I'm plugged from the matrix. So it's like,
Yeah.
um,
It's what,
very
yeah,
crazy
essentially
experience.
that's like what it is.
Yeah,
Essentially that's what it is. The Matrix is like it's about spirituality, actually. It's about this awakening process. It's like a different metaphor that it's used, but that's essentially that unplugging.
yeah,
When like Neo
totally.
says like not everyone's ready to be unplugged.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing. So you want to like, oh well, like you want to start unplugging your family and friends, but they don't want they want to stay plugged in.
yeah, and you actually like question yourself, like, am I really ready for this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're here. You're ready, or else we wouldn't have met.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I was very nervous, but something inside me was like, do it. Like, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. And that's how intuition works, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I found you guys, and thank you for listening to me. And yeah, it's been wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. No, it's good to have you.